Sagittarius, welcome to your reading for 2016. Now, this reading is for Sagittarius who are born between December 3rd and December 12th. If you're born on those days or in between, this video is for you. If you don't know what I'm doing, I split up every single sign into 3 parts, basically by 10 days, which are the decans and astrology is pretty much what I use for almost every single sign. Some of the other signs I mix it up a little bit, but if you're not sure which video to watch, you can just click on the description. I have all 3 Sagittarius videos listed there with the dates next to the video, so you just click on the appropriate link to watch the appropriate video. And as I've been saying, you can feel free to watch all 3 videos. They'll probably all have some parts that resonate with you. But I did this to kind of say thanks to all my awesome subscribers and everybody that watches my videos, but also because I feel like this will allow me to be a little bit more accurate as far as your reading goes for the year. So just know that. But to kick it off again, for you Sagittarius is born between December 3rd and December 12th, you start off with the Ace of Hearts. Great card. I love the Ace of Hearts. It is a love card in some ways, so it definitely represents love coming in. I will say, I think that for most of you Sagittariuses who are born on Decan 2, which is this video here, I think you're mostly focused on the future, to be quite honest. It's like you're doing some hardcore planning of things and really figuring some things out. It's very interesting. To say the least. Interesting message. But this card right here can represent better times ahead. I always say when I pick up the Ace of Hearts, I always get this image of like a heart melting and a new heart underneath it. So it's almost like you're shedding some old layers. It's like you're even baggage. You're like leaving baggage from the past year behind and not having to carry it into this year. Any difficulties you've been experiencing even disappearing with this card. Very positive card. And again, it can represent love coming in, but I don't always read it necessarily as a love coming in card, but it can. It also, it's a card that, as I say, makes you happy. It just gives you happiness, a happy feeling with this card. So it can really kind of change the tone for the whole entire year, where maybe last year, and specifically 2014, was rather tough, I think, for a lot of you Sagittarius out there. So, any depressions, depressive feelings and all that stuff could be lifted this year. Could be just have a general sense of well-being with this card. Next year, the Two of Spades. Two of Spades can be a separation. It can be a breakup card where, you break up with somebody. I don't want to freak anybody out, but, it's definitely there. It could be a separation between you and even like a place of business. It could be you leaving something like that behind. Although, even though I say it's like a separation and things like that, it's a 2. So you're usually not too worried about it. You're usually not too upset, so it's usually not a big deal. So I will say that if you have to leave something behind, you always end up in a better place anyway. When you break up, there's always a reason for it with the Two of Spades. On the more positive side of the card, it can be about being creative, really being creative, um, and using your creativity. And it can also, I want to touch on this real quick too, because it's popping up, is that sometimes when this card comes up, you cannot want to be alone. You can really be focused on getting somebody in your life. And the card says, maybe you just need to learn to be a little bit more comfortable with yourself first, and then once you can do that, then you kind of open yourself up to the possibility of relationships coming into your life with this card. Next, you have the Four of Spades. Four of Spades is a card of minor things happening in the home. I always say with this card, it's like just totally avoid any arguments in the home. Don't argue with anybody this year, the entire year. I know it's like hard to do, but this card really wants you to just separate yourself from any arguments that could possibly happen. Don't start arguments. If you're living with somebody or somebody in your home starts an argument with you, just say, you know what, you're right, and just let it go. It's not worth it this year, because the Four of Spades is a warning card to me. And it's again, so it doesn't say something is going to happen, but it just says if you start something and you make something happen, or you start an argument, then some bad things can happen in the home with this card that could lead to things like breakups. So if you want to avoid that breakup, that could potentially happen, don't start any arguments, with whoever you're with. Just let things go. There's also there's also like kind of more of a solution to this card as well that can even further your success level here in the home, and making sure things don't happen, and that is communication. in the way you communicate, even with the Four of Spades. It's all about thinking before you speak in the home, really. So again, if somebody's driving you crazy in the home, like I always say, they're not doing the dishes or they're not doing something they're supposed to do. And this goes for if you have kids or anything like that in the home. If they're not doing what they're supposed to do, it's all about how you approach it with this card. It's all about saying, hey, finding the nicest way to tell somebody whatever. And you know what? People might be a little bit sensitive this year. So if they start barking back at you, just say, okay, and just let it go. Let it go. Don't carry it on. Don't drag it out because bad things can happen. This card could also come up, by the way, if you are living with your parents and you want to move out, or you're just living in a situation where you want to move. This card can come up and be like really make you want to move out. So that's kind of like a little bit of a lighter side to this card. Again, it could just make you feel like you want to move out. Not a big deal. Next, you have the King of Clubs, which is you. I love when signs come up in their reading as themselves, kind of, because it really puts you in a position of strength. King of Clubs is all about using knowledge that you've gained over your whole entire life. You have the King of Clubs and the Jack of Clubs coming up, right next to each other. Really, both signs are born here with knowledge. They're born to earth with already knowing things that nobody has ever taught them. Nobody's ever, shared with them, but they have this knowledge. It's all about using that knowledge and using those things to your advantage. It's also about gaining knowledge. This has come up for several signs that I think this year people really have an opportunity to learn more than anything. I'm not an astrologer, like I say, but I'm wondering if there's something in the astrology that's really making it easy for us to learn, because it's come up for several signs. The message has been if you want to improve your life, you want to improve your job, go learn something extra, learn an extra skill that can make you more valuable. The King of Clubs would do that. Not only does he have a ton of skills already, which I think you do, but he also wants to learn more skills to become more valuable. It's like kind of one of those cards where if you learn a bunch of stuff under the King of Clubs, you can become unbeatable, where just nobody can touch you, because you have an answer for everything. You know everything. It's like it's that powerful with this card. And it also does say that you're going to be rather realistic this year, which is nice. It's kind of like you don't have those rose-colored glasses on. You kind of are looking at everything and you're being realistic about things and more grounded, which is great. That makes you make good decisions this year. And I really think that you're going to be doing that by default, which is nice. I really like that. Next, you have this Jack of Clubs. Jack of Clubs is all about the future. It's all about seeing into the future. This has also come up for a couple other signs, not a bunch. This whole learning thing has come up for a bunch of signs, but this future thing has only come up for a couple other people. The Jack of Clubs really says that you need to be kind of looking out into the future and really planning things. This is why at the beginning of the reading, I said it feels like a big planning year, where you're planning things, you're planning things out, you're strategizing even, and you're really trying to figure out where exactly you want to go and where you can make some decisions. Jack of Clubs, like I said, he can see into the future, literally, in a lot of ways. So, this is good if you're an investor or anything like that. You invest in the stock market, I would say this year, this is a good card to do it with, because it's almost like you can see and you'll just know that things are going to increase or something like that. That comes up for a lot of you, I'm getting. Same thing with any other investments you can make in your life, or starting a business. You might kind of have a feeling about starting some sort of business that it's really going to take off in the future, and you start it now. And that really sets you up for the future. That's what this card's about. It's all about being kind of like a visionary, thinking out into the future and planning things ahead. Next, you have the Three of Clubs. Love this card. It's all about second chances, getting a second chance at something. When this card comes in, frequently we can get a second chance at something that we failed at in the past. It could be a relationship, a business, a job opportunity, a promotion, anything like that that we didn't get in the past. Now it's going to come back around, and it's like the universe is saying, hey, I'm giving you a second chance at this. Did you learn from the first time that you did this? Did you learn where you went wrong? Frequently with this card, the first time that this situation came around, you would have been given two paths, and you chose the wrong path the first time. This time, you should know exactly what to do. You need to go down the other path. You need to choose, make the other decision, make the other choice, so you'll have some knowledge. You have the King of Clubs, the Jack of Clubs, all about having that knowledge. So I think really this year, you'll be able to make some good decisions on any second chances that come your way, because it's like you've learned from all these things. That's the important thing with the King of Clubs and the Jack of Clubs. Some of the other jacks in the deck, particularly, they don't necessarily learn from their mistakes. They can keep making those mistakes over and over again. But the good news is with the king and the jack here, it's like you've learned from your mistakes. You know what to do now, so do it. And finally, you end with the six of spades. Great card. Really, even though it's a spades, like I said, people always get nervous with spades, but the six of spades represents momentum, building momentum, and momentum building in your life. I really like seeing this because it's more exciting than, some of the cards represent getting like a lump sum of money or a windfall. But this builds up momentum in your life, which is way better in my opinion because it lasts longer. It's like something that lasts for a long time. You building something that matters in your life that will last and kind of keep you going for a long time. And that's this card. So it looks like you have a great year. Thank you so much for watching. And also, again, please feel free to watch the other two videos.